guys. I know y'all love to see me like this. Oh goodness. I'm just having to not even bother to be embarrassed by my appearance anymore and just share with y'all the joys of being a maker and the things that we look forward to. My package said it was delivered in the mailbox, so I can finally open my other package that I got and tell y'all about what I have going on. Ooh, man. I have a very long driveway to walk, but a car is coming here too. I'll wait for them to pass before I get in my mailbox. And I'm sure I look goofy holding my phone. That is weird. Look at how they put the mailbox is open. But I got my package, so look how fun. It's in a little blue bag. I'll show y'all in a bit. Good morning. It's been many days, and I feel like I've been needing to tell y'all this story. So, I have a friend. Her name is Natalie from Nitty Natty on Instagram and Love and Stitches on YouTube and Ravelry. She is an amazing human. I've talked about her in my Vlogmas and probably in a lot of my make videos. So, my designer friend By.Stephanie.Erin, she just keeps on cranking out amazing things. Well, Natalie was very interested in her latest design, which is this Soundwave shawl. And Natalie was like, I'm thinking about testing for her, asking me if I am going to test and if we could kind of collaborate and make a video of our experience together, which is so fun. She's so good at the YouTube, so it'll be so good to see her experience and her creativity in video compared to my creativity in video, It's so cool how we can all love one thing but show it separately. So I had to order my yarn. She already had her yarn. She got to shop her stash. I don't have any mohair in my yarn. This is the first time I'm ever going to work with mohair, so I'm a little nervous but excited at the same time. So she already got started. She is 4 rows away now, guys, and I am just now getting started. I have had this yarn since Wednesday. It is Monday of a new week. That's a tired dog in the background. So I don't know why I've been hanging on to it. I was working on another project. I thought I'd finish this other shawl before, but it has been giving me grief. So I really need some wins. And I know Stephanie's already good at what she does. I mean, being a tester for her is like a breeze for the most part. I mean, usually when you hit a snag, it's like easy to figure out and move forward with, and all the people are very interactive and so very active, and so they always have answers for you also. So this pattern's probably going to be super perfect now that everybody else has made their way through it. Did I say Natalie's 4 rows away? Yeah, she's 4 rows away from being done. And Casey, the Skiniac, she is just now going to get her yarn because it's just hit her local post. So I think pretty much everybody has gotten their yarn this week. And I went ahead and already opened mine. I was going to open it live for you, but you don't get to see my reaction, but I'm really excited on the other side of the camera. And then I did also already swatch yesterday. I hit gauge by stitches with the recommended hook size, but mine are a little taller. And then other testers were gauging using the fingering weight and the mohair. Stephanie only did hers in the fingering weight. Excuse me, I'm struggling. And I only did mine in the fingering weight, also because, you know, I haven't worked with mohair yet, so I would rather work with mohair in the pattern. The tips that I have heard about working mohair is to use a wood hook because it can be slippery, and to, if you need, or not to work from the center pole, to work from the outside because it can get a tangly mess, and then if you do need to frog, to freeze it for an hour, like the entire project, put it in the freezer for an hour at least before frogging mohair. So hopefully I don't need that last tip. But yeah, I think I'm gonna go ahead and get started working on it now that I have the swatch. I can't wait. Let me talk more about gauge. Okay, so the pattern, for the sample, she used an 80 superwash merino wool and 20% nylon blend. For the fingering weight that I'm using, it is 50% superwash merino wool and 50% tussa silk. I don't know how to pronounce that, but silk I got. So, and this one has 405 yards, and hers, she said she used 800 yards, so I'm assuming hers is like 400 yards each skein or hank. So a lot of times you'll see, when you compare that, you can tell like the thickness or the thinness of the fiber on that. So that could affect your gauge. And this time around also, see, I'm using this tiny skinny hook and there's no girth handle. So I've decided to revert back to the way I used to crochet and use a pencil hold. So, I mean, that could affect my gauge in some way because it's a little bit different than the way that I do it now. But usually for shawls, I don't even gauge. I mean, the most important part about gauging for shawls is to make sure you have the right amount of yarn to be able to finish it as the designer does. But usually I'll have too much yarn when it comes to shawls, and I like to play around with color on them anyway, so I'm not too worried about it. The only reason why I would want to get gauge is because this is for a test and she is counting on me to have the proper amount of yardage and do it the way that she needs it to be done. So usually the stitches matter more than the rows, and obviously blocking can help manipulate the shape a little more too. So I'm gonna go onward with this hook. I feel like there might be something else about gauge I need to say, but I can't think of it now that I'm recording. Yeah, I'm excited to see what my shape is going to be like. I went ahead and didn't print out this pattern. I'm going straight off of the Google Doc because I know there were a couple changes that were made, and I don't know, I don't want to make those changes in the PDF, and this is a shawl, and it seems like the repeat's going to be pretty easy to remember, and I can make my notes. And so this time around, this time around, whenever I don't print the pattern, I probably need to make clear, I usually start like notes in my notebook, so I can still keep track of them as I'm going. Also, I forgot to mention, and I know I've mentioned in like the Pretty in Pink sweater YouTube video that I did, the way that Stephanie works. She does use the Google Doc, but she also makes her testing group more like a crochet along. So she gives you like goal dates to have certain things done by. So for this one, she said for us to have our yarn chosen and the gauge done by April 10th. Today is actually the 13th, but I'm pretty quick crocheter, so I'll be able to catch up pretty quick. And then by the 17th, we should be at row 20, and then by the 22nd we should be done with it so that we can block it and take pictures in time to have our notes in by the 27th. And I'm sure like the following day she's going to have it ready to release, and it will have already been released to you. So yeah, being a tester for Stephanie is awesome. Oh my gosh, I just had a mind-blowing moment. I've never heard it described this way, but the Skeeniac, Casey, just shared an awesome concept from It's All in a Nutshell crochet. Yeah. I've always loved them for tutorials, and I think they do some translations of some patterns too. So, I've always found them really cool. Anyway, she has a video on the golden loop. If I remember, I'll link that in the description. But it's an awesome concept to show you how we can all get different tension, and it just explains it all more clearly. And I guess there is kind of a way that I'm able to control the height of my stitches. Although I think that my fiber has a lot to do with it, so that might make things a little bit more difficult. So try to get as close to the suggested yarn if it's like super important for you to get your shawl identically measured the same. Holy freaking moly! I've just made my first, few stitches in mohair. The halo is so much more visible in the camera too. I'm freaking out. It's very weird to work with, because it's like a finer weight. It feels like you're holding a cloud for real. It also feels like when I pet it like this, like I'm petting an animal. Like I'm petting the actual sheep almost. Oh my goodness, it's so weird. And I can understand why a wood hook might help. It definitely is even slippery on a wood hook. And I wouldn't say bad, unmanageable slippery, because you know it's there, but you're not used to holding something so fine within your fingers. Like this feels more like a substance, and it's fingering weight yarn. Oh, it's so wild, guys. It's a crazy experience. I have about hit the halfway point on this shawl. I'm like a couple rose shy till that point, but I really wanted to show y'all before the sun was completely down. It is a little bit fiddly and hard to get into the mohair stitches, but it's doable. It takes a little bit extra focus to make sure that you get through both loops, and you want to make sure that you have really good lighting to see that. Also at the end, it's also hard to get into both loops of the chain 3, so I have been finding a couple times I had to go into the second chain, but I don't think that it's affecting my tension. I am just loving it though. It's crazy to think, like, I'm halfway, and if I didn't have anything else to do, that I could do this in one day. Like, if I didn't have cooking to do and I could just sit and crochet all day, or if I didn't have to count because I'm double checking for being a tester, you know, you want to make sure that everything's right for the future buyers. But yeah, I don't know really what else there is to say besides this is amazing. Probably a little too sunny to be doing this angle, but how fun is this? It's so big. I'm loving it. The repeat is so lovely. Also, yesterday I was talking about how the I just can't do it. I can't do it. The sun is fierce and this is horrible. I look awful, I'm sorry. This is my shed, and I'm feeling very rustic vibe with this project, just with the colors, and I like the way that it goes with the wood, so that's kind of what I'm going with for the whole theme and aesthetic of it. It's really cool how the mohair really gives that Soundwave like vibration. The naming is just so perfect on this project. As far as the mohair goes, yesterday I was talking about how it is very slippery when working with it, so the wood definitely helps, because even then it still glides off the hook very well. But it is also sticky in the same sense that it really latches onto each other. Those little fibers just love each other so much. And I mean, I understand while it's on the animal, you know, how sheeps are made, like how sheep are made. Like, it makes sense, but for yarn wise, it also makes sense so that it can stay in one fiber. But y'all know what I mean. It latches to each other, and so sometimes it can get really fiddly when it's coming off of the cake and when I'm pulling at it and the strings are wanting to sandwich together, like on each other instead of being one strand. But look, that's just me sitting here being nitpicky because this pattern is so perfect. I feel like I'm stealing in testing this because it's been, boo, I had a phone call that interrupted my video. But it has been such a breeze to work this design. I mean, I'm adding it to my favorite fingering weight shawls. And honestly, like, you could make this with like all fingering weight yarn if you wanted to. It doesn't have to include the mohair lace weight. It's I mean, you're not testing it, so you can make it how you want to make it. It will probably affect the size of it and the airiness of it. That's a trash truck. They are essential. But it will affect the airiness of it. You see, like, it's very see-through. Well, I don't know if you could see me, but it's very airy, and I just love it. I love it, you guys, and the shape is so unique. Yeah, you can see how airy that is. I'm happy about it. I feel like there was something else I wanted to say. But I have 13 rows left. So if you want to have a life and make this, you can make this in 2 days. If you want no life, you could make it in 1 day if you're a really quick crocheter. So I am now going to tap into, ooh, I got a little bit of dirt on that. Little bit of leaves. I love the outdoors though. I'm now going to tap into my new hank. So I'm gonna go wind that up and I'll show y'all what I get next. Hopefully it'll be when I'm finished. I literally don't want to do anything except finish this shawl because I don't have much more left. So, you know, it has me itching to work on it even more, which, I mean, let's be real. I want to anyways, because double crochet all day, but my husband bought a brand new vacuum cleaner, so I did take a break and do that, and I probably should finish up cleaning the house. But I just finished my second to the last mohair row, and look how much mohair I have left. That's still a ton. I mean, it's going to be minus one more row. And then I think I have seven more rows left-ish. Yeah, I think. I don't know. I didn't look at the pattern before I came back on here. But yeah, it's quick. Last night, Natalie finished hers, so I'm making it like a goal to try to finish mine tonight. It might be like 1 in the morning when it happens, but maybe. I like to, you know, do my goal. And Mom's making dinner tonight, so I literally don't have to do anything unless I decide I need to clean something. I don't really have much light, but I wanted to show y'all this was my last row of the mohair. I have a lot of ends to weave in, but I'm saving them for the end to do, which is probably torturing myself. but this is just too fun to stop. Boo. Just lost at Yarn Chicken, and it's still quite a bit of length that I need to do. So I looked at my stash, and you guys all know that I made my Pretty in Pink in Toast, and this color really is looking pretty cute with this. So I'm thinking I might have a really contrasting edge, just so that I can know yardage for the test. But I mean, honestly, I don't think anything else in my stash matches as well, except one other color, which I'm not sure on yardage. I know for sure on yardage on here. So, and look, there's a ton. There's no way that I'll have to play Yarn Chicken again. I mean, really, I could go with this one. This is a nice little mini that I have. And it has 87 yards. I mean, surely I would need more than that for the edging. I don't know what to do. I'm gonna ask my friends in the group and see what they think. Alrighty, I finished it. And I ended up using the mini. I mean, you really can't tell, but this is also how you can tell the difference between yarn, like the types of fingering weight there are. So this Anzula that I got, please excuse my nasty nails. This Anzula that I got is a bit thicker because of the content compared to the regular fingering that's like 75-20 or whatever, you know, merino nylon blend that's traditional for fingering weight. You can tell the difference. So that's probably what affected for me to run out of yarn, because the height difference really did play a factor. Also, I wanted to say about the marine, like the mohair. I ended up going with mohair, but you can do siri also. But I've also noticed that alpaca kind of gives me a scratchy vibe. Sheep is, sheep is just softer for me, I think. Isn't this cool though? I mean, like, if you did wear this like normal shawl-like, I think it'd be kind of almost like a cape. Or like a little poncho. If I put buttons here, that would be pretty cool styled that way. I just love it so much. I don't know how I'm going to style it when I take pictures in it. Let's see here. Because this is how I normally wear my shawls, like, and I usually make triangle shaped ones, so this is even more fun. I usually tuck the ends underneath. I don't know, you guys. I might leave the end out. Oh, that looks cool. I could do it like this. I gotta weave in all the ends, but that's fun right there. It looks awkward with this outfit, but I'll get my makeup done and have a real photo shoot in this baby soon. All right, it is time. Wind in weave in all these ends. Let's see how many that we have. Let me count. 2, 4, 6, 46 for 7, 48 ends. Stephanie blocks hers and then she weaves in the ends, and I guess that's what the pros do, but I like to weave it in and then block it, just because after it's washed I feel like it's done, and that's when I want to take finished pictures. So that's what I'm going to do. And I'm a rebel like that. Y'all, an hour later and I am still weaving in ends. Mind you, I've allowed myself to get distracted by social media, you know, YouTube videos and Instagram friends. I can't help myself. But I am sitting here fully regretting not working over the ends of the mohair. So, when you make this shawl, don't be like me. Be smart like some of the other testers and work over your mohair ends. There's no need to be going back through and dealing with these tiny little ends. And I haven't even finished one side. I still have another side to go of these mohairs. The sun is nice and bright, so I'm hoping that I can get this washed and out to dry in the sun tonight, today till it turns night, and then I can get pictures tomorrow. It'll be nice to have a reason to get dolled up, because right now I don't have any reason to put any makeup on when it's just me at home and I'm not going anywhere. Hope that you guys are finding projects to do while you're staying at home. If you're looking for something, this shawl is a good one. It's very meditative and nice and peaceful, so it's not stressful. You can continue to watch the shows that you're watching or listen to the books or podcasts that you're listening to. You can do all the fun things. Let's see, how many do I have on this side to do? 3, then I get to move on to the next side. All right, you guys. It's the last freaking... I know that doesn't happen to just anybody, right? Like, just me, I mean. Like, I'm sure that it happens to all of you, where you think you're on the last end and then you actually have more. Or you finish them all, you get it all washed up, and then you're like, excuse me, let me get a sip of tea. You get it all washed up and you find an end again. Yep, that happens to me. It looks like it's perfection online, but you guys, this is real life here. It is not an easy task, but I'm addicted to it and I love it. Not the finishing part, the finished make. Like, the finishing part is honestly the worst part to me. I know some people are really into it, but it is the most rewarding part. I will give it that. So right after this, I'm gonna soak this baby in some bubbles for about 20 minutes, some of my eucalyptus, and then I'm going to stomp on it, rolled up in a towel, and then I'm gonna lay it out outside in the sun because it's like 81 degrees here. And hopefully it can get dried by this evening, and then I can snap pictures in the morning. That would be super ideal. I might not show y'all the whole entire process with my blocking, just because I've done it in previous videos and that might get boring to watch. But It's pretty important to block this one because that mohair is probably really gonna grow. Well, the fingering weight too. But I'm going to measure this out and see what this wingspan is and what the length is, and then get it blocked and see how much it grows. So she's gonna get a little bit of that sunset sunshine. I didn't stretch her out any at all. I have more blocking mats I probably could put out for the overhanging. There's just a little bit. It's not like a big deal. But, I mean, you work with what you got, right? I could bring her inside and just put her on the floor, which I probably will this evening because I'm not gonna leave her out here overnight. But for now, I wanna get the dampness like gone and for the most part, somewhat dry. So I can bring her in and it will be able to get pretty dry for pictures tomorrow. I think it did help open up some of that mohair, especially in the middle, these little middles here. These parts, I probably could stretch it out, but I really don't want to make it any larger because I like it the way it is. I am seeing the sunrise. It's gonna take me a minute to do my makeup, so it's probably gonna be fully rised. I'm tired. But I've been procrastinating on taking these pictures, and it's only really cool in the morning, so I gotta get it done. I really didn't feel like putting lashes on, but I mean, yeah. That took me a good hour to get ready, and it is 61 degrees out. Dang, this is a fantastic angle, but I got all my things. I have 3 shawls. Ooh, feels a bit misty out here. I have 3 shawls and my tripod. I forgot I was gonna tell y'all the measurements of my shawls. I didn't look at my notes before I got on this camera, but look. Y'all, I have already got some bomb-ass footage and pictures. The morning light is the best light. I mean, it is even better than like a sunset light. It just makes you glow. Right there is where it's at. The sun is like in a haze of a cloud over here. I just now looked at that tree right there. I'm gonna go take a picture with this tree. I have my tripod fully open, so it's kind of hard to walk with, but how pretty is this little tree here? It looks like it has a lot of colors. I might be able to get something cool with that. It's nice to have some backdrop. Oh yeah. So usually when I click the camera from my tripod, it's just like a real quick like my arm is not fit anymore, so nice little snap like that in portrait mode does me good. It might be really cool to get some backlight. It's like a nice soft. Yes. Thing that I got up early because this is the area that I took photos at. And the sun is just beaming heavy. Like watch, if I stand here, see, you can see my shadow. That is a no-go. That's when you don't want to take pictures, guys. So pretty much I have like a short attention span when it comes to taking pictures. I mean, I could take like a gajillion pictures, and that is a real number. I could take a ton of pictures and it'd be great, and it's probably great for me to have lots of options. But when I get a good one and I really love that, then I don't have to make choices in between all the others about which one I'm going to use. And that's like a really tough decision for me sometimes, to have to make like choices between photos. Especially even the same pose. If I get too much time while I'm taking pictures to sit there and look over what I just took and critique it, I will continually try to get it perfect, and that just it's not needed really. Okay, so I have my notes by my side and I am going back through my email, and what I find the best way to do is to go into my search and then enter the item, which is usually what the title of the email will be once you have been selected as a tester, and to get the details for it. So I started it sound, because this is the Soundwave shawl, and then this is the email. I'm trying to keep the emails private up there, but I don't think I'm showing too much here within the email because it's a pretty generic email. When you get selected as a tester, Stephanie gives all the details of what you would need. Well, she also includes this form for you to enter all your notes in. So it takes you immediately to it, and then I will be entering all these details and answering all these questions. And that is the job that I have. After I've entered all those things, I am going to go to Ravelry, just to make it quick and easy immediately after I like to do it. But usually you have to have it done, with most of the tests that I've done ever, you have to have it done within like the week of the release. I mean, ideally you want to have it up there already so that other people, once it's released, can go check out, you know, the color options or get an idea of what they're getting themselves into. Plus, it's a nice point to give yourself some exposure too. Like, you got to participate in this, and why not flaunt it? So, not everybody knows a lot about Ravelry. You'll get a little peek here of my finished photos, but I have already created the project, so I'm not going to show you all that, but when you go to the notebook, you can see projects, okay? And then, oh, I clicked the wrong one. you can see projects. Okay, so this is like a new project that I have. So I've clicked on Soundwave Shawl, and that's what I named it because that's what the shawl is called. And usually it'll prompt you already on that. Then I already added all these, like the hook sizes, the yarn that I use, linked it. I already added my finished pictures and my whip pics along the way. But the only thing that I'm missing really is my little blurb. And some people, they like to add their notes as they go along. I haven't gotten to that position yet where I want to do that. So I could push edit project. And this is also where you can edit everything else, like the craft. You can also add tags, which I haven't gotten into. I really need to do that so that when somebody searches, they can find that particular thing, whatever it is that you tagged. So I put my hook size, I put the gauge. You can also press fill in gauge from pattern. Unfortunately, I didn't get the gauge right. The pattern is already adjusted for that because I know a lot of people that do shawls don't always gauge properly. But like I said before, just try and pick a yarn that's close to the same kind of content that Stephanie used, and you shouldn't have the problems that I did. So these, like I said, this is the yarns that I used and where I got them and everything. And you can also add any other extra yarns if you want, like just pushing add yarn here if you decide to do other kind of striping for yourself. And this is where I will add my little blurb on there. So I'm gonna get to doing all this, and then that's it for me. Might I also add that from my project page, you can also go to Stephanie's pattern, and there you can see her design page, and when it's available, you'll be able to have like a little box here where you can buy it, the pattern, as you would know if you know anything about Ravelry. But also up here, you can look at everybody else's projects and see the other color options. And these are just a few of the other testers. So yeah, it's all collected in one place for you. Ooh, I made myself a Dalgona, you know, that's what you do right now during quarantine. But can I just say cheers? I love testing with Stephanie. I love testing with friends, and I love making friends in test groups. So speaking of friends, go check out my friend Love and Stitches, Nitty Natty on Instagram. I also got to test this shawl with her, and she also did a video on YouTube if you want to go check that out and see the different perspectives that we have.